What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged review, and this is a spoiler review for It Chapter 2. I'm coming in late with a lot of these, but that's okay. I'm getting caught up. I hate doing some of the non-spoiler reviews now just because I kind of have to talk in circles. So this will hopefully be a much better review for the movie. I will say it's not without controversy, and it is quite long. Those are the first two things you really take away after seeing the movie. I did really enjoy myself, though. I thought that they did a lot of really cool things. I thought that Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, again, was absolutely amazing. And I was actually kind of surprised by some of the other actors, especially Bill Hader in this. He plays Richie, the older version of Richie. And just a really damn good role for him. So the movie starts out, and this is kind of like really getting right into the controversy. The first major scene are these two guys who are at the fair. One of the guys wins this little contest, wins like a stuffed animal, and there's this little girl who looks sad, so he gives her the stuffed animal. And then this guy comes up behind him and says that was really sweet. And then you realize very quickly that they're a gay couple, obviously. There are some people there in Derry who see this, don't like it, and start trying to pick a fight with these guys. They start really harassing them. And they opt to start walking away. One of the Derry guys, they're all been drinking, and he's like, you got a problem? Gives a couple of slurs there. And this guy, Adrian, decides that he's going to snap back and make a comment talking about the guy's hair. Basically said Meg Ryan wants her wig back or something like that. So they keep walking, and all these drunk guys follow them. They catch them on a bridge, and they just beat the holy hell out of Adrian, the guy who made the comment. So you start out with, right away, a very graphic, violent gay bashing scene. And I've seen a lot of people talking about this already. And one of the people I saw talking about it made the comment that they wish that, they can keep the scene in the movie, that's fine, but try to do it a little bit more tastefully. And my first thought about this is where I separate from a lot of people. I believe if you're going to go for something, don't half-ass it, you go for it. And I actually applaud them for going for it because that's exactly what they did. Because here's my opinion on it. Gay bashing, it's violent, it's not tasteful, it's closed-minded. So, to say do it tastefully doesn't really make sense to me. If you're going to have the harsh realities of life, have the harsh realities of life. So they beat this kid's ass and they throw him over the bridge. Now here's the thing. This scene was also in the Stephen King It novel. A lot of people know that. What a lot of people don't know is that Stephen King wrote this particular scene because of something that actually happened in Maine. There was a gay couple. The guy, one of the guys in the couple, got beat pretty bad. He was asthmatic. They did throw him into a river, and he did drown. When he drowned, the three guys who did it turned themselves in. So this is Stephen King writing about real life in a realistic fashion. And thankfully, they kept that realistic fashion in the movie. Now, honestly, you automatically know that it's going to trigger some people. It's going to charge some emotions. I'm not gay, but if I were, I would imagine that would give me some pretty powerful emotional reactions. So I do understand that. But, again, this is stuff being written realistically. And realistically, there are those people out there who hate what they don't understand. And that's just the way it is. But getting back to the movie, Pennywise in the movie picks Adrian up out of the river. Adrian's boyfriend. He goes in. He's on the other side of the bank from where Adrian and Pennywise are standing. And Pennywise takes a big chunk out of Adrian. And so right away, People were wondering, should they have this scene in here? Should it be so violent? Did it need to last so long? And my thought is this: you have an automatic empathy or sympathy for this guy who just got his ass kicked for no reason, practically damn near killed. Clearly, he's afraid. And so Pennywise picks up on that, picks him out of the river, and eats him. So you establish kind of the sympathy for the character, and then he's automatically killed off, which makes Pennywise even more of a villain. Also, it shows that he will eat more than just kids. He preys on fear, so it was an ideal situation. So that scene now being talked about, hopefully fully. The movie from there is basic 1, 2, 3. Act 1 is Mike sees a note, says come home. He understands that Pennywise is out. So Mike, he calls the rest of the Losers Club back. And you get these phone calls and you see very brief snippets of what the adult versions of the Losers Club are like, what their lives are like right now. Beverly, she had her abusive dad when she was growing up. Now she's in an abusive relationship. I thought that was really apropos. You have Stanley, who of course had his mother who was always nagging on him. Now he's got this wife that's completely nagging on him. Bill, he's a writer, a decent writer, but there was a lot of jokes in this movie about being a good writer and not being able to finish the end of a story. And Stephen King got that criticism most of his life. He even makes a cameo in this movie where he says Bill is in this pawn shop, basically. And he's like, do you want me to sign the book? And he's like, no, I didn't like the ending anyway. So there was a lot of very on the nose about that. Act 2 is basically the Losers Club coming back, and they have to find these pieces that are supposed to be sacrificed for this ritual that Mike has found through this his time with an Indian tribe who apparently had been dealing with Pennywise, and you find out that Pennywise has been here for quite some time. So it gives separation for the group, and it allows Pennywise to kind of start messing with them individually again. And it goes back through Pennywise messing with them as the kids of the Losers Club in flashbacks, but also in current time with the grown-up versions. And so you kind of get a 2-for-1 with each character with that, which I thought was pretty interesting. And they actually did some really cool stuff with Pennywise. Not just with him alone, but also with creature effects and things that he did to kind of mess with the minds of these guys. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. So they finally get their pieces. They bring them back, and this ritual that Mike saw fails. And now they have this big war with Pennywise in Act 3. And there was a lot of things right away that I did not like about the end creature creation. In the book and in the miniseries, he was kind of spider-like, and that's exactly how they made him. They made him with like the top half still looking like Pennywise. And some people actually like that. I didn't. I wanted them to go all out with the creature and try to make it something we haven't seen before. And there's a lot of things you could do to toy with it. Unfortunately, the only thing they did was keep Pennywise's face on there, which I actually thought was a disservice. Like I said, some people liked it. I really didn't. I didn't like that choice creatively. I think there's a lot of things they could have done that just didn't work for me. So, couple of big moments in here that you get. I want to say it was Stanley. It was either Stanley or Eddie. Yeah, it was Stanley. Stanley, he was the guy who had the mother who was always messing with him, and he was really getting messed with by Pennywise, really bad in the first movie. So when he gets the call to come back to Derry with the rest of the Losers Club, he knows that he doesn't want to face everything again, and he kills himself. So right away, when the losers first meet up, there's this scene where these fortune cookies are turning into these really weird creatures, and it had some creepy bits to it. But you see, I think it was like fortune cookie fortunes that were spread out, and it says like basically Stanley didn't make it, and so they understand that he killed himself. The other member of the Losers Club that you lose during this is Eddie. Eddie throughout the movie was kind of a pain in the ass, didn't really want to follow suit. But he eventually stood up to it when it was in its creature form, and it looked like it was going to, I want to say it had Richie, and it was going to look like it was going to eat Richie, and he throws this thing that's kind of like a javelin, hurts it, in turn, it like grows this like big spear out of its arm and stabs Eddie right through the chest, and so you kind of knew he was gone. There was a couple of things that they didn't really follow with. One of those was the relationship with Bill and Beverly. Bill, he was married. When you come into the adult versions of their lives, when you get a glimpse of it. And so the lowest angle that they really play on here was Ben. If you remember, Ben, he wrote her a little bit of a poem, and she kept on to that. And so eventually, those two wind up hooking up. The creature effects. They did some really cool stuff with Pennywise. The big thing with the trailer for It 2, when you see Beverly grown up talking to this old lady, she was looking for her dad in that old apartment. And it turns out to be this old lady living there now because she's already, her dad's been dead for a while. And of course, the old lady turns out to be a manifestation of Pennywise. And I think they went a little too far with the CGI on this. Like, she comes out, she's really tall, she's really distorted. Didn't really look as good as it could have. She's got a couple of like mouths on her neck and stuff. They kind of like get close-ups of that. It was just really weird and awkward. So Beverly, of course, is running away from her and is in this like cellar area where she runs into Pennywise himself. And that was a lot better. He was a lot creepier because it was actually Bill Skarsgård down there. And it's where he like cuts the lines into his face with his fingernails and the blood's dripping down. Really cool looking there. One thing that I thought was really cool was there was a scene, I think it was Richie, I'm not positive, but I think it was Richie, who was sitting on a bench in front of a Paul Bunyan statue, and the statue comes to life and it's like chasing him. I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. It may not have been Richie, but either way, the statue looked really cool. I actually liked the way they did that. I thought it looked pretty creepy. He's got these big old wooden jagged spikes for teeth. So that was cool. I like that. That was pretty nifty. So throughout the movie, you've got very cool effects. I do appreciate Bill Skarsgård's performance in this, though, because every time it was actually Pennywise the clown, it was always the best. There was one scene where this little girl, she's kind of following this lightning bug or something, and finds Pennywise underneath these bleachers, and there's a little back and forth, and of course he winds up killing her. And then there was another kid who was living in Bill's old house that Pennywise decides he's going to kill to torment Bill and say, I'm going to do it again, basically, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that was kind of like the fun house scene that you saw in the trailers where there's a bunch of mirrors and Bill's there, James McAvoy. That was a pretty cool scene. I really like that too. So they did a lot of really cool things with this. I do agree that they should have made the beginning scene for a lot of different reasons. And like I said, if you're going to go for it, actually go for it. I think they did. I think they tried to make it a point to make that as visceral as they could. And good on them for doing that, because you can't shy away. My big problem here was with the length of the movie, there was a lot of things they could have done. I think that it was kind of drawn out when the Losers Club, when they were grown up, had to find these like little pieces that they had to sacrifice for this ritual to try to take out it. It didn't really make sense to split them up, although they kind of tried to explain it because the kids had the moment where they were kind of fighting amongst themselves and they all went their separate ways for a little bit. And so during that time, nobody could remember what happened. And so they kind of fits in. The ending was a little bit tragic for me, honestly. So there was this thing where Mike was talking about this ritual, and he didn't really have all of the information, and he left out the fact that it didn't matter because the Indians died anyway at the hands of Pennywise. And so he made mention that it was like a battle of wills, like, Pennywise feeds off of people's fear. And so the ending really became, instead of Pennywise feeding off of their fear and their negative energy, he started feeding off their determination and their will. And it made him literally smaller. He was this big, gigantic creature. And then through sheer will of them saying, you're nothing, you're small, you're just a clown, this and that, he started shrinking, and he turns into like this weird mutated baby looking thing that had Pennywise's face and really small body. And they reach in, kind of Kano from Mortal Kombat fatality, and pull his heart out and crush it. And that was it. It dies. This little underground cavern where they go to fight him just starts to break apart and lift up. And so they're running to escape that. It was, I don't know, man. Like, I understand, like, the Battle of Wills, like, he feeds off negative energy, so he would have to feed off their positive energy and like mine. But it just didn't work for me. It really didn't. There was a lot of cool things they did. I give props to this movie for a lot of things. That was not one of them. I will say, though, at the end, the Losers Club, they're kind of at that outcropping where they all jumped off into the lake before. Well, they jump into the lake again to get all the blood and dirt off of them. And they start talking about Stanley, and Richie just... No, I'm sorry, not Stanley, Eddie. They start talking about Eddie, who was just killed by it. And Richie just breaks down into tears. And Bill Hader, he was really the highlight of the movie. Not only because he brought a lot of humor to the movie. I mean, he had some really good laugh out loud moments. But he brought really the biggest moment of heart and emotion to this movie. They mention Eddie, and he just breaks down. He's crying. And you really feel for him. The Losers Club all gather around him. So it was really a good moment. So overall, I did enjoy the movie. I really thought they were creative with a lot of things that they did. I really, really wish that they had done something different with the final version of it, like the creature. I felt like that honestly was not the way to go, in my opinion. I understand they wanted to have the face of Pennywise and have it relatable. I thought they should have gone as scary as they could with the creature, try to make it something really haunting. And there's, it's something you could really take the gloves off with, and they just didn't do that. Although I still enjoyed this quite a bit. I think I gave it like a 7.5 or an 8, and that still stands. It was a very good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very long, but I honestly didn't feel the length of it that much, to be fair. I mean, it's 3 hours, so you're going to feel it a little bit, but for a 3-hour movie, I don't know that I really felt like it felt 3 hours. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I know I talked a lot about the first scene, but I felt like it was something that people want to talk about. And so I wanted to give my full opinion about it. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.